Miranda, and today I'm here to review the graphic novel The Witch Boy by, bear with me, Molly Knox Ostertag, I think is how you say the last name. In my house to be Ostertag. I'm not good at pronouncing names. This is a book, it came out 2 years ago. It's the first in a series, with the third book coming out later this year. And what mainly drew me to it actually was this is going to sound really weird, but the spine of the second book, which I will also be reviewing later, that looked really dope. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna read this. Then it was like, oh, no I'm not, because it's the second one. So then I picked up this one so I could read the first one. I had never heard anything about it or really seen it before then, so I was really going into it not knowing much, but I was pleasantly surprised with how good it was. I really think that kids' graphic novels are so underrated. Like, they do so well in telling such an emotional and amazing and impactful story that I just feel like it's kind of sucky that, you know, kids don't get to read those as much. I know they're doing a little bit better with it with summer reading and stuff like that, but I feel like these graphic novels, they teach you so much, you know, especially at such a young age, that, like, these are books I would have loved having growing up, and even, like, nowadays I still enjoy them, like the Amulet series, stuff like that. So the main thing with The Witch Boy, the whole thing is it is about this one boy named Aster, and his family is descended from witches. So in his family, all the women on the side of the family are witches. All the men are shapeshifters. And that's just always how it's been. There's no crossover, nothing like that. That's just the way it is. Aster, on the other hand, though, he doesn't really feel drawn to shapeshifting. It doesn't feel natural to him like everyone's saying it should. It's not coming easily to him, and in fact he has never actually shapeshifted into an animal. I mean, he's a younger age, so like everyone's saying that's okay, but it's definitely like getting to the point where he should be by now, and he's not, and that's worrying to him because he's more drawn to witchcraft and the magic and all that. He spies on the lessons, in fact, with like the girls. He'll like just sit outside with his notebook and try and write down the spells and practice them on his own time and everything like that. And he has to keep it this really big secret because in his family, the only other person who has ever felt a call towards magic or like dabbled in magic like he's trying to was his great uncle, right? That would be your grandma's brother. And when he used magic, it kind of corrupted him and turned him into this bad thing that left his family, and he's just been like, his name is, you know, we don't talk about it. So Aster really can't talk to anyone about it in his family because they all have that in the back of their mind, and there's also just this whole thing of tradition where it's like, this is how it's always been. So I feel like in that sense it reminded me so much of just gender issues and gender norms, which was a really great way I think of presenting it, of like, it's always been done this way, and what happens if you're in one category that isn't fitting what you're supposed to be. Because I think a lot of his family, some of them are downright hostile about it, like they pick on him for it, which is something that would happen in the real world, and other people, like his parents, they love him, but they don't understand it, and they're still trying to mold him and shape him and kind of guide him into what they see as the only path for him. So I like that it showed the different ways of it. I just think that was a really good way of saying it, of saying, like, you know, because there are things in this world that people consider more masculine or feminine, and what happens when you yourself are in one of those categories but feel connected more to something in the other category that's been told like not attainable for you, like you can't do that. So what ends up happening is during the big shape-shifting night, there's like a night where they all go out to try and feel the call of the woods and find an animal that will deem them acceptable, that they can take on their form. As this is happening, cousins and boys from Aster's family are going missing. They're shape-shifting, and while they're out there, they disappear. They cross the protection boundaries around the family and like the whole base that they live on, and the whole family obviously is very on high alert for this, and Aster's having a hard time because it's like now he feels even more added pressure to help join the search to find his cousins, and you know, some of them are his friends, but he still feels very divided from his family because he wants to use magic to help, not shape-shifting. So he actually ends up just meeting this girl randomly who I freaking love. She reminded me so much of like Erica from Stranger Things. In fact, my mom was even like, that's why you picked up this book, wasn't it? Because she reminded you of Erica. And I was like, maybe a little. So her name's Charlie, and she's a human. She doesn't know magic exists at all or anything like that, but she just really likes Aster and wants to be his friend, and it's kind of the first friend he's got outside of the family, so it's someone that he can kind of talk without exactly saying like what it's about, but saying how like there are traditions in his family that he feels like he doesn't fit in fully to them, and it's hard, and she is able to listen and kind of give him advice for that, and it's kind of like his first outside person giving advice out of the family. So that's a really, really nice friendship to have, and just to be able to have that outside and that kind of talking board that he can bounce ideas off of, someone that's not involved in the family and doesn't have this mindset of like, okay, boys are shapeshifters, girls are witches. Like, it's nice to have someone who doesn't have that mindset so he can bounce off of it. So what ends up happening is the whole thing is about trying to find the boys, and Aster maybe trying to prove that he can use his magic to help them. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it is just a really good story. It's a unique take, and at the heart of it, I think it is about family, and it's about what happens when there are these traditions in your culture and in your society that you live in that say you have to be one thing. What happens when you don't want to be that thing? What happens when you feel a call towards something that you're told, I'm not supposed to do this because of my gender, because of who I am? Like, at the base, that's what the story is about. And the magic and everything is fantastic. The drawings are absolutely amazing and gorgeous, but it all wouldn't matter if that heart of the story wasn't there. And I think it is something that's very relatable and that kids are going to read and be like, I get this. Like, I can relate to this. And it's nice that, you know, it's kind of wrapped up in this whole bigger story of magic and shapeshifters and everything like that, but it's a very human story at its core. So I so enjoyed it. I'm so excited to read the second book, which I will have a review up for shortly, and then the third book, like I said, which comes out later in the year. It's just such a phenomenal book. Like, I highly recommend it. If you like graphic novels, like I said, if you like Amulet, it reminded me of that with the drawing and kind of the more magic fantasy story and all that. So I super enjoyed it. I think it's just absolutely stunning visually. The story is really there, and it's just great. Aster's an awesome main character. I love Charlie and I love the friendship they develop, and I can't wait to see what happens in future books. So if you've read The Witch Boy or any of them in this series, please feel free to leave your thoughts about them down below in the comments. I highly recommend it. It's a really good book, a really quick read, and I think it's a good one if maybe like a younger kid doesn't love reading chapter books. Like, I think this is a really good, it still has a good story, good message, but it's an easier read with the pictures and everything like that. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!